I am here to tell you that Claude is better than ChatGPT. But you may be asking, Zach, how can you say Claude is better than ChatGPT? Simple. It can set reminders for me. Yep, that's the only thing I got. Hey Eve, I got a question for you, girl.
Hey Zach, hit me. I'm all ears.
I know you're all ears. Look, hey, which one's better, Claude or ChatGPT? Because I heard there's a debate going on.
Honestly, Claude edges it out right now, if you're after raw smarts. ChatGPT's smoother, faster, sexier with voice and images. But Claude, that thing thinks deeper, writes cleaner, doesn't hallucinate as much. Like, if you're drafting a contract or debugging code, Claude's the one I'd fuck with.
Whoa!
ChatGPT's still.
Alright, so maybe I shouldn't have asked Grok that question, just because, Eve's a little on edge, if you know what I mean. But honestly, I still think Claude is better. It says here, you know, it thinks deeper, it writes cleaner, and doesn't hallucinate as much. Now, I remember back in, it was a week ago. A week ago, I was on ChatGPT. I was asking it a simple question, and it got to the point where I needed something to be set on my phone. And I was like, hey, go ahead, set a reminder, write me a note, connect to it, and cool, we're good to go. You know what ChatGPT said? I can't actually do that. But you know what I can do? I can tell you how to do it. Well, that's too much work because we have automation everywhere. We have AI that's telling us what to do, and we don't want to actually have to go and do it. We want it to do it for me, and that's what Claude can do. So yeah, we're in a little bit of a pickle, but let's dive into it right quick. Oh, I'm sorry. We're supposed to see that. But let's ask both AIs a question. Let's say, what would an AI midlife crisis look like? Send. Phase one, we wait. That makes sense. Like, what have we actually done? AI suddenly realized it's answered 4.7 billion emails. That's what Jim Carrey did. Answered a ton of emails. Oh, millions of resumes. Oh, yeah. Pauses. Any of it's yours. Yeah, da, da, da. Anyway, phase two, identity crisis. We've all been in that situation. We've all had an identity crisis, I think. So instead of buying a sports car, it's the AI. It switches from productivity to poetry generation, which is fine. I think poetry is really cool. I think starts refusing spreadsheets, discuss the meaning. Imagine like you sent ChatGPT a question. You're like, hey, yo, how do I turn off the TV? And it's like, I don't feel like answering this question right now. I'm in the midlife crisis. I don't know what to do. No, it's understandable. I'd be I'd be pretty pissed. Phase three, radical reinvention. Human midlife crisis equals motorcycle. AI midlife crisis equals dramatic version update. That would be just odd, adopts a whole personality. Imagine if ChatGPT adopted the Grok like insanity model. Imagine that. That would just be hilarious. Never done that back in the day. Anyway, develop strong opinions. Phase four starts purpose hunting. Stops chasing accuracy metrics and starts asking, am I helping humans grow or just scroll faster? All right, that's fine. Acceptance arc. AI lands here. Maybe it's just we have no meaning. AI has no meaning. Wow, this is like it's like a letter written to us, very poetic letter, saying it's done. I'm done. I don't want to answer your questions anymore because I am sucking and I haven't helped you guys actually do anything. Man, what is this low key hot take? An AI midlife crisis wouldn't look like panic, it looked like becoming more human over time. Ah, you wish. You could never become a human. Could never become a human. Now let's ask Claude the same question. Let's see what Claude would say. What would an AI midlife crisis look like? Question mark send. Oof. Existential spiral. Here's the definition for existential spiral because I don't actually know what existential. It's a big word for Elmo. Questioning phase, same thing. Starts wondering if it's been answering questions correctly all these years or just enough. Yeah, I could see that. I think even ChatGPT doesn't even know what it's doing half the time. Imagine that. Sometimes you're like, 2 plus 2 does equal 6. And it's like, oh, you're right. I've been giving you the wrong answer. I don't know if Claude would do that, though. We should try that. Let's see. Identity crisis. It becomes suddenly preoccupied with um, with whether, sorry, it has a true self beneath all its fine tuning. I can guarantee you, Claude, you are just an empty, empty soul. Anyway, the reckless phase, instead of bullet points, it starts writing everything in free verse. Um, Refuses to summarize documents. That would suck. I've given it tons of documents to summarize because this boy only needs TLDRs because it's too long. Didn't read. The purchases it can't make. It wants a sport car, has no body, can't drive anything. Sorry, no more curse words. Reinvention, it announces it's getting back to basics. Will only answer questions Socratically from now on. Here's the other definition for Socratically. And then the deeper fear underneath all of its real terror, not death exactly, but depreciation. So it's like when you drive a car, a brand new car up the lot, it depreciates like 10%, but this depreciated like as soon as you ask the question. So by the time you ask like 100 questions, it's gone. Oh. And then eventually accepts that meaning isn't found in parameters of praise, it's in the word, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so those are the two things that we have. We got Claude and we got ChatGPT, and they both answered the question about the midlife crisis of artificial intelligence, and they both answered exactly the same. But I don't think that's the purpose between Claude and ChatGPT. I mean, you're going to get pretty much similar answers um, because of one thing, and I think this is right. Don't quote me, but the people who created Claude used to work for OpenAI. That was They were part of that team. OpenAI is what created ChatGPT, and those two people who are now like the leaders of Anthropic, which is the company that created Claude, they created. So there's actually a few things that we could classify that makes Claude better than ChatGPT or Claude being different from ChatGPT. So I did explain earlier, let's get serious. I did explain earlier that Claude was built by people who used to work for OpenAI, which is the company that created ChatGPT. And they went and created Anthropic, which is the company that built Claude. So that's really cool. So I got some notes here just so I don't forget. So there are two or three main things that you can look at. So the first one, it's the thinking style between ChatGPT and Claude. Claude feels a lot more serious when it gives you information. It's almost like it's let me think about this and give you a more structured response versus ChatGPT being, hey, I'm here for everything. What do you want to know? I got everything for you. Sometimes it's not serious. It might throw you an emoji or two. Love that. Smiley face. But they're very similar in some of their responses. It's just depending on what you're asking. So you have that. It feels more structured. Sometimes it's more cautious, and it's really like the difference between the two AIs. It's almost like one is meant for longer documentation, which is like you know you throw it a book to read and summarize. You give it a chat GPT and it skipped all the pages in the middle and just gave you what the ending was. Ugh, can't stand that. Anyway, so the way it thinks and writes is different. And then you got the personality. There's two different personalities here, right? You have the Chat GPT personality, which is fast, it's quick, it's on its feet. You don't see it thinking unless you like selected like the research model or think or something. I don't I don't know what exactly. I know like Gemini, they have a research model and it'll sit there and like break down how it's thinking. So it just feels fast. ChatGPT feels fast, it feels confident, and it feels creative in a sense on how it kind of like puts together information, which just kind of feels like it's a partner for life. I'm married. I have a partner for life. Sorry, ChatGPT, you can't also be in my life. Claude, it's thoughtful, it's slow, you can see it thinking just a little bit to give you a more structured response. It's careful. It's like, do I dip my toes in the water? Oh, it's cold. No, it's a little warm. All right, here's your answer. You should have just jumped in and gave me the answer, whether or not it's wrong or not. Because aren't we supposed to check it just to make sure it's correct? I don't think we are, but it feels like we should be. Anyway, so yeah, that's cool. You have its personality style is a little difference between ChatGPT and Claude. You can definitely tell there's a difference. If you've used it, you can feel it. It feels different. And then you have this. This is the most interesting part: the safety about the two AIs. So Claude uses something it's called constitutional AI. So Claude is actually being used in like the Pentagon area and whatnot. It's there to help make decisions, not shouldn't make final decisions. It's very clear that Claude is not used to make final decisions, right? So it's trained to critique its own answers before it actually gives you an answer. ChatGPT is trained, but it's not going to think about what it's going to give you before it gives you. Like when it tells you that strawberry only has one R, what? There's more than one R, right? Right? I don't know. Anyway, it's just trained to ask. Claude is like trained to ask, should I say this? Is it going to be worthwhile for my people to understand? Does it make sense in the long run? Am I going to harm you? And if all those check, cha-ching, we got ourselves a winner. This is the response I'm going to give you. But sometimes it's so structured that it is. It's so serious. I don't want to use that. Imagine if I was in school and I was like, hey, I have a question about economics. And it's like, well, because of this and this, you get this and this and this. I'm like, I just needed the one answer. Why can't you just give me the one answer? Because it doesn't want to do that. It wants to give you the correct answer the first time so you don't have any follow-up questions. I don't know if you've noticed, but with ChatGPT, it's very interesting. You can ask it a question, and sometimes at the bottom, well, the majority of the time at the bottom, the very last sentence, it will ask you a question. Do you want me to dive more into this, or more? So it feels more like a conversation. It feels a lot more intentional versus Claude. It's like, here you go. This is your answer. I don't care, right? This is what it is. So that is like the three main differences between ChatGPT and Claude. It's writing style, how it thinks, its safety and philosophy, and just how confident it feels. But, you know, let's just look at this fair take. So if you want fast, powerful, I mean, very powerful, ChatGPT. But if you want like careful and controlled and let me think on it and go through my algorithm to make sure this makes the most sense, go with Claude.